Forbes India presents AWS The Mavericks in association with Matrix Partners India.
Hi, welcome to another edition of AWS The Mavericks Conversation. We have with us today a panel of very accomplished C-suite technology leaders, broadly in the area of financial services, to share their experiences on tapping the power of technology, in particular cloud computing and digital technologies, to make everything from insurance to investments in the capital markets to emerging opportunities in the crypto space accessible to millions of people. As you know, while technology has always thrown up new possibilities, the rate at which tech is changing today is unprecedented. And of course, the COVID pandemic certainly made the need for tech-enabled solutions much more urgent across industries. And financial services is certainly one industry where this shift towards greater adoption of technology leading to new products and revenue opportunities, new ways of doing business, and superior customer experience is becoming apparent. In the Indian context, of course, while UPI made payments painless for hundreds of millions of people, many of you are telling us, many of you experts in the tech industry are telling us that tech-enabled solutions are emerging. For example, the account aggregator initiative that will truly open up a data-driven fintech revolution in this country. And underpinning all these exciting changes is, of course, the cloud model that is rapidly evolving from a cost-based infrastructure play to an outcomes-led platform for innovation at scale. So to talk a lot more about this and bring you their insights, on our panel today, as you saw in the opening plate, our Saurabh Tiwari, CTO of Policy Bazaar, is also founder at ZFin. Tipesha Dhyamappa, CTO at Upstocks. He was previously a director at software development and international retail at Amazon. Siddharth Menon, co-founder and CEO at WazirX. And Siddharth is something of a serial entrepreneur, many startups under his belt. Vivek Gupta is Executive Vice President, Head of Technology at Coin DCX, senior tech roles at multiple companies before, including, I think, Instamojo and Clip. And of course, we have Mr. Satinder Singh, Head of Solutions Architects India, Digital Native Businesses, AWS. Satinder brings about 25 years of experience, including in companies in PwC and Red Hat before his current role. A warm welcome to all of you, gentlemen. And for the discussion today, every once in a while, allow me to ask a question specifically to one or the other panelists. Other than that, please do enjoy this as a spontaneous conversation and do jump in whenever you want to add your view as we go along. So let me start right away by requesting Saurabh to take my first question. And I invite all of you to add your comments to that as well. Saurabh, maybe you could start by giving us a sense of how far India has come in recent years in increasing the penetration of electronic and digital options broadly in the financial services sector. And also, I guess the added question is cash still king? Over to you, Saurabh.
Yeah, thanks, Hari. I think it's a very different times. We are right now sitting in the era. Possibly we are getting over with the COVID. I hope so. But I think if you just look at the journey of digital adoption in India in last few years, we have progressed quite well. And why we have progressed so fast and so well is largely, I think, the ecosystem has been able to support us. We have been able to allow a lot of consumers from tier 2, tier 3 city, tier 1 cities to leapfrog and get used to using digital services using mobile phone. That has been one of the primary means of accessing internet and accessing financial services on the ground. We had one of the best payment solutions available as part of the ecosystem that is certainly helping the adoption further. Our internet bandwidth, everything has been improving, and we have been in an era where even if you go to a small town or village, you still get the 4G network, and possibly will get the 5G network in some time. So if we just think about all these factors which are very important to build a conducive environment for accessing digital services in India, this is moving in a very fast-paced manner right now. And I've started realizing that a lot of people have started using mobile phone on 4G network to access digital services. I just give an example. My father, who has never been able to use mobile phone 2 years ago for making an online payment. He only makes the online payment using mobile phone. So that's the level of adoption which has gone in last 2 years, and COVID has even helped it further to have the varied experience among various consumers in India. So I do see there's a bright future ahead. I do feel the financial services will have a lot to offer to end consumers, to tier 2 and tier 3 cities especially. I think tier 1 they are pretty equipped. Tier 2, 3 and tier 3 cities are gonna have a better reach. And if I just talk about the industry, the way from where we belong, I just take the example of insurance. 10 years ago, it was never used to be thought that we will buy insurance policies online. I still remember when I started working for Policy Bazaar, my family was saying, what are you going to do? You are a technologist. How come you're going to basically become a Bima agent? So that's the way the world has changed. Everything is moving in the direction of digital technology. And now if I go and tell someone that you can buy insurance online, you can actually decide and get an advice on buying an insurance policy online, get service online, I mean, people would just find it as a normal word or normal sentence. So I do see there's a massive progress which has been done in the industry in last 10 odd years. Yeah.
Siddharth, Vivek, in some ways at the other end of the spectrum, in a sector that was born to the internet, born to the cloud. Maybe you all want to add some brief comments. Probably cash is king. I don't know if that question is relevant to you at all.
No, I think there's a very important point that Saurabh did discuss about the penetration of infrastructure, digital penetration and infrastructure, or in plain English, it's in penetration of internet. Just comparing two different eras, right? So probably in 2000, at least when I was internet enabling myself, the opportunity that we had to access information outside, even to set up a Gmail account, was very limited to tier 1 or at least folks who had access to internet, which is usually the tier 1 cities, right? And today, if you compare that, right, like today you have direct 4G access to 2 and 3 tier cities, and that's fantastic. And it directly reflects on, even for a business like a crypto exchange like WazirX, where we have a lot more users coming from these tier 2 and tier 3, which is very surprising for me. Like, we never thought about it when we started doing our math. We're like, hey, is this truly right? And imagine, these guys are adopting to a newer technology right from, wherever they are, who got just access to internet and now talking or want to build into these, ecosystem. That's just phenomenal, right? Like how both in terms of how infrastructure has penetrated and what is it enabling you to do, right? So even today, they are so deep into these financial instruments. I mean, it was a bit of surprise for me, and it's good to see this happening, and hope we have more good stories to say.
All right. To the point about the infrastructure penetration increasing, I was just thinking, along with that, what are the hallmarks of important changes in the financial services sector in India, in fintech? Would it be overkill to say that there is a fintech revolution underway in India, or would you agree that in some sense that there's a beginnings of that happening? What are the hallmarks of such a fintech revolution? Vivek, maybe do you want to start with that?
No, so I would say definitely fintech revolution is happening. I mean, like what some of the previous panelists rightly, sort of pointed out, India is sort of going through a tremendous adoption of digitization and growing digital adoption in the country. Driven largely, I think in some ways it got triggered during the demonetization, right? So when we saw like a huge 56-57% increase in the number of digital payment accounts in the country within a period of a year, and then subsequently got precipitated during COVID, when everything was under lockdown, and people had to find alternative ways of experiencing or leveraging some of the financial services, and all these digital journeys basically the adoption started growing. But none of this would actually be possible if the infrastructure, like was rightly pointed out, was already in place, right? So not only internet, even the payment methods, right? So for example, take the case of UPI. It's such a beautiful protocol, internet, phone, anywhere in the country, you can send money to anybody on their phone number, to a UPI handle, to a bank account. The same UPI can also be used for making online payments. The same UPI can also be made for recurring payments, and I imagine sometime in the future even to drive some of the lending ecosystem. So on one hand, we are seeing the maturity in the existing ecosystem and the deeper penetration going around there. And on the other hand, we are seeing this new sort of virtual digital assets coming into the play in the form of cryptocurrencies. The adoption of that growing in, a lot of people coming from different sectors, cutting across city tiers, cutting across, even classes, starting to learn about this completely new, asset class. This is just a beginning, sort of the revolution or the sort of, innovation that can be driven through, cryptos and generally payment ecosystem in the country, right? So there you go. I mean, I'm saying in my view, the revolution is breaking out, and it's kind of at a very early stage where it's going to sort of continue to grow and boom from here.
In terms of the way you do your business, in terms of your operations, in terms of the way you engage with your customers, are there any early indications of this revolution beginning to brew? Question to all of you. Please feel free to jump in.
Back to the earlier discussion and also this point. Definitely the revolution, I could say this is happening for last 5 years. If you look at e-commerce, it's a 10 plus years old. I still remember, working on Amazon India website in 2012, and after like it's a 10 plus year adoption. E-commerce has really set the high bar and draw some of the technology evolution there. But in fintech, in 2015, Aadhaar came on board. Aadhaar, PAN card, KYC, all of that helped to onboard customer, digitally. Like with your phone, you can open your account in like 15 minutes. So that you don't have to go to bank and wait in line or wait for, filling a paper 15-page document. So all of that simplifies the customer experience. And as a result, and with the COVID also coming into play, the adoption has increased quite a bit for us, especially Upstocks. Like in last we already reached nearly 10 million customers. This accelerated growth is because of I think other speakers spoke about digital infrastructure, which includes, you can think of it as an highway. So we have throughout India, mobile first, data first, infrastructure first. All of that is played a big role and reaching the customer now. Tier 2, tier 3, or tier 4 is entering now. People can make the same decision as the tier 1 customers. So definitely we are seeing significant innovation. And also if you look at entrepreneurship, startup companies in different sectors, even in this panel, we have from lending to crypto to trading. So different innovations are happening with the entrepreneurship and startup, and that is helping the disruption in the traditional sectors as well. So it's overall, it's a good thing for customers, and this innovation will continue to grow, continue to expand, and I'm looking forward to the exciting journey we have and improve the customer lives in the future.
Sure. Hari, I can go. Just wanted to share some perspective. And from what we are starting to see in India is a perfect storm of digitization, with businesses of all sizes now realizing the value of technology. I think the value proposition of technology and digital has never been clearer, and especially in this pandemic stage and as we're gradually getting to recovery. And as I talk to customers, especially Indian businesses, there is a realization that the businesses that were thinking deeply about technology, digital, and cloud are coming out of crisis much stronger. In fact, there is a NASSCOM report which talks about the tech intensity of Indian enterprises is going up from 2% to 5%. Small, but it is moving up dramatically.
All right. Satinder, do you want to follow up with that? I mean, going forward, what are some of the biggest opportunities in fintech? And what role do you expect digital and cloud native technologies to play in tapping these opportunities?
Yeah, that's a great question, Hari. Again, I'll first refer to a McKinsey report, and this was a research that they did with world's top 500 finance companies. And they say they predict by 2030, the cloud technology spend will be in excess of $1 trillion. That's a massive number. If you look at possibly the way forward, I'll divide it into two phases. The first one is acceleration. I mean, more short term acceleration of embedded finance, open banking, BNPL, decentralized finance, blockchain, crypto, enterprise startup partnerships. These are key themes which will play into overall strategy and focus. As an example, open banking will, along with new business models such as banking as a service, are creating open ecosystems in which both data and services can easily be transferred between market participants through open APIs. And while you think about that and loosely coin that as Web 2.0, while Web 2.0 wave is still bearing fruit, what we are also seeing is first shoots of growth emerge from this next large paradigm shift in internet applications, which is loosely called Web 3.0. Now, that's a leap forward to open, trustless, permissionless networks. Now, if you look at Web 3.0, it's largely built on three layers of technology innovation. First one is edge computing, second one is decentralized data networks, and the third one is artificial intelligence. And with Web 3.0 spreading out from data center out to edge and often right in hands of consumers, and panelists have talked about how mobile is becoming like a big force. And imagine if we give a lot of compute capacity, a lot of intelligence onto personal handheld devices, you can forecast the amount of data that will be produced and the kind of capabilities that are there. I think the second one is decentralized data networks, and that I mean these are making it possible for data generated from an individual personal health data to finance data to car location performance to sell or barter their data without losing ownership control or giving up privacy or reliance on third-party middlemen. And as such, decentralized data networks can bring the entire long tail of data generators into this emerging data economy. And we are seeing some early success, and there are people on the panel who can talk in more details than I do. But I think that's the second big wave that I see. The third one is something that kind of overlaps and overrides on these two, which is AI and ML. Now, these algorithms have become powerful enough to create useful predictions, actions, and we see a lot of adoption. But when layered on top of this new decentralized data structure, will give access to wealth of the data that would be envy of today's tech giants. The potential applications go far beyond areas that we are currently thinking of. So I know there is a lot of excitement on this, but fundamentally, I think for players to get their Web 3.0 strategy right, they have to get their Web 2.0 strategy right in the place. The ones that have got that in place, in my opinion, are in better position to exploit the paradigm shift associated with Web 3.0.
Fair enough. Let's get a few company-specific comments in as well. Saurabh, maybe you can talk about the insurance sector. What are some of the fintech opportunities that are specific to your company, your sector?
So, Hari, I think we also kind of born digital, right? From day one, we have been digital, and though we had not been cloud native to begin with, but eventually we went on the cloud. Right now, if I talk in terms of innovation and opportunities that are lying in our area, we had started a journey on a digital way. Now we are also trying to basically get on a multi-channel route for specific segment of customers, because what we have realized that there are a set of consumers who still want to be having some kind of physical contact. Though we'll be leveraging upon all our digital frameworks and journeys for enabling such consumers, but still we'll be putting up a physical touch to support those kind of experiences and advices to the consumers, where we'll go and meet them. This is one area we are possibly getting very, very focused in coming few years. Other than that, we see that in insurance sector, the biggest pain is not actually right now in buying. I think that's something I think we kind of gain the ground, but there are problems which are now coming up is that consumers are still not aware of that which product is best for them. So personalized product creation is also one area which is very much needed, and that's an area where I believe the data is going to basically have a larger role to play. And the third area which is we are very focused upon is not only giving a policy to a consumer, it's also giving them a lifetime service around the policy that they have bought. This is a very, very important aspect of our business now. And we are working with all different partner insurance companies to make sure that the end consumer experience should not be limited to only purchase. It should also extend beyond purchases and go up to the service side, which includes in the bad times when you need claims, we should be there to help you. And this we have seen, it was very handy for a lot of consumers during the COVID times when they had the need of someone helping them to get their claims processed. We were there and we were just helping to build that. So we are also stitching those digital broken pieces where consumers should be able to self-service them alongside someone who should be there next to him to help him. So these are the three larger areas which potentially we are focused upon.
On the capital markets front, Tipesha, would you like to add some comments?
Absolutely. Like for us in the trading itself, like we are in the early, if in India, only 3 to 4% of the our population is adapted to stock trade market. And if you look at the opportunity go from 3 to 4 to 10 to 15 or even 20%, that is a humongous growth for us. And to reach that level, we need to invest in a lot in education. Like how do we educate people? Good part is India is average age is around 25. So very young generation, very they are used to technology, but still there a lot of people are not on the trading side of it, so they are learning it. So we have to build technologies intelligence in such a way that tailor the experience to provide the right content of education from the beginners to intermediate to advanced traders to all the way to professional traders. So we are looking at how do we scale from 10 million to hundreds of millions of customers and grow the adoption of the contribute to the adoption from 3 to 4% today to 10+% in India. How do we take that, and what are things we need to build technology wise? Again, AI, and we are looking at AI not only in the short term as well as long term. How to build some of the intelligence within our system to understand customer insights and then target the experience as well. So all of that that is one of the how do we build personalized experience and content which can improve the customer experience. The second one is scaling part of it. How do we leverage the technologies which cloud provides with respect to the data? What is our data strategy? What is our ML strategy? What is our data security strategy as well? We are looking at it. How do we do that? And then third one is again the scaling part of it. How do we leverage some of this automation and scaling to improve the customer experience and reach the mass? And also we are looking at creating an ecosystem where how do we there are many unmet needs of customers in the fintech space still. So what are the other areas we have to innovate new products, and how do we leverage the technologies we have, which is a cloud technologies, which help us to bootstrap and start right away from the get-go. So those are the areas we are focusing at Upstocks and to empower every Indian customers.
On the crypto front, and I guess in the more broad sense on Web3, I would imagine today, before you can really tap the opportunity, certainly in the Indian context, a whole lot more of education and awareness is required. So I'm just thinking what might be the opportunity realistically today in the Indian context.
Yeah. So from a very crypto perspective, right? So there are two very important branches that is there. One is obviously the the fintech instruments right there, right? So people trading, they're buying and selling, and there's more maturity into having different kinds of instruments we created on top of it. So that's one path. I think that we already know. The traditional businesses have been doing it, and it's just about time. As the liquidity goes up, you build onto these, and liquidity and compliances comes in, regulatory comes in. You build onto these opportunities, instruments. So that is one part, and I think it's very clear for everybody. How that would probably pan out to be, and it's more at a global scale. What happens everywhere, so, sort of the prices goes up and down. It's that everything happens at a global scale, right? The other important branch a lot more people are not thinking about is the whole Web3 front, right? So right after you you buy into a token in exchange, what happens, right? So exchange is something like what ISPs were during the internet time, where you get access to the internet, right? It's just a path where you just start getting access to internet and do whatever you want to do. Similarly, I see exchanges as very similar to that, which is a gateway to Web3. That is the entire world, the decentralized world that you get access to. So, for example, if you want to use a decentralized app on Ethereum, you need to just buy those, Ether token, transfer to your blockchain, and you can start using or being participating in these dApps, right? Decentralized applications. So, and a lot of things are happening there. It's a completely different world right after you leave the exchange and the whole decentralized world. There's decentralized gaming happening, there's decentralized finance. There is so many things happening there. Even the NFT marketplace. So so there's a two sort of major branch, and I am very excited about this whole ecosystem being built out. Wherein today exchanges are definitely doing a great business, but tomorrow it will be just a gateway for you to access to this whole a bigger ecosystem that is being formed in the Web3 space. And I think that's quite exciting, and a lot more opportunity, even in terms of thinking about your Web2 business in Web3. It's like how probably in 90s we were all thinking about how do we get our business online. Okay, just have a website and let's do it. So everybody's reimagining. How do I get a bookstore online? Okay, Amazon came in. So even here, everybody's now trying to reimagine their business in Web3, how it will be, how it will work, trying it out. And I think this is that high frequency trial period where a lot of action is happening. And you can just see how it's just evolving slowly and steadily to something more beautiful. So really looking forward for that again.
I was just thinking, to me, sort of as a layperson, it feels like today the Web3 opportunities and certainly the crypto opportunities are a little bit siloed, for lack of a better word, with respect to the more conventional financial services, products and services that consumers would consume or companies would need. Vivek, do you have any thoughts on this? Is there a way to bridge, or is there a need to bridge the existing conventional financial services industry with what's happening in Web3 and what's the direction in which it's headed?
So see, I think like Satinder and even Siddharth sort of alluded to, we are kind of in a phase where we are moving in from how we do things today to how the things will be potentially done in the Web 3.0 world, right? So this is sort of a important transition that we are going through, and when it comes to blockchain purely as a technology, right? When talking about blockchain as a technology, cryptos as a technology, the potential and the opportunities of what you can do with this is simply limitless. I mean, basically there is no doubt that it is completely limitless in the space that we are currently and how the market is currently tracting in India. I would say that at least in Coin-D6, what we are observing is that we've got a whole section of users, right? People who we like to call as no coiners or new coiners. People are just starting up their experience. People who are starting up from, I don't know what crypto is, I would like to learn and understand about crypto. And it completely arcs up all the way up to people who have a fair bit of understanding of what crypto is, the potential of crypto, and have been sort of dealing with crypto in various capacities so far. And this entire arc is basically of varying people. And so we have a sort of a very important and a varying role across this complete product customer arc that we have in the country, right? Starting from, our DCX Learn platform, from where we focus heavily on helping consumers understand what crypto means, how to start their journey in crypto, learn about crypto, onto basically creating simplified products so that their journeys can continue to go through. And I firmly believe that in the next couple of years, we will see a lot of alternate utility-based, applications of crypto coming into picture. A lot of blockchain implementations which drive alternate use cases. I mean, like Siddharth said, a lot of use cases today are probably driven around, crypto buy sell, crypto as an, proof of, and as an asset value. But we will see actually a lot of, global virtual marketplaces growing up. We will see alternative use cases coming up. And in terms of growing the entire ecosystem as a fintech ecosystem is concerned, I think one of the roles that crypto has to play, and probably blockchains will actually enable, is in three key levers, right? Basically increasing trust, building data secure systems, and improving transparency and efficiency in financial systems like never seen before. Right now, this will happen in sort of multiple use cases, including financial systems. And so to answer your question, yes, I do believe that we will see a deeper penetration of blockchain technology going across multiple sectors, and there is a definite need for that use case to be driven.
Just want to add to what Vivek also had saying, and sort of getting into more detail of things. Yes, the utility part is the most exciting part, right? Because if you just think about it, right, the biggest difference between you owning a stock, say a Reliance stock, is only from a financial point of view. Probably the valuation of the company goes up or down, or maximum what you get is a bit of dividend around these things. But in the crypto world, if you are holding an Ethereum, there is not just it's more than a financial value. You can actually go and use it, right? You are actually spending that to technically, doing some computation on the decentralized world. So there's a lot of utility when it comes to these kind of tokens. It's though at a very hindsight, you just look at the exchange, it feels like, okay, these market and these market are very similar, but that's about it, right? After that, there's a whole lot of world that is being just built on top of it, the utilities and things around that, which makes it much more valuable, which has more transactions that is built into it, and that's pretty amazing.
All right. So it occurred to me that for traditional, for lack of a better word, for traditional financial services companies, or for conventional financial services companies that are offering different kinds of products, whether it's loans or insurance and so on, what might be the underpinning for this transition to happen? I mean, to my mind, it feels a little bit obvious that that underpinning has to be some kind of a cloud platform. And in that context, tell us, all of you, about the kinds of innovations with products, services, and customer experience that are possible today, some of the things that you're already doing, using, exploiting cloud native technologies. Maybe Saurabh, you could take this, and we'll get the others to comment on it as well.
Yeah, I think in fact I was looking to speak about it a little earlier, but I think now it's the right time to talk about this. See, one of the things which I foresee, the moment cloud technology comes in play, I think total cost of ownership to build a business or build a small business, which could be specializing in a very specialized sector or segment or solving a very niche problem, is possible. And I think that way, what will happen eventually, that cloud services will enable small businesses to come, specialize, and provide services to the bigger businesses. So the possibility could be around using services from multiple cloud, services from multiple organizations, and building and kind of orchestration layer to provide a service to an end consumer. That's a possibility right now. And I do believe that collaboration, interaction among multiple players in the entire ecosystem would be possible now. And cloud allows you to connect to the service that is the best in a particular segment. For example, we might have our entire infrastructure on AWS, but we might want to consume a particular service from, let's say, Azure, Microsoft Azure, and that possibility exists because the cloud does provide you that option. alongside, it does allow you to have scalability of your solution. You need not to worry about uh, how long you're going to use the service, how you're going to make the data storage happen. So those worries are kind of over now, and I'm hoping with these technologies getting available at a scale, a lot of innovation is bound to come, especially in the area of data science. Some of the areas where we have been able to use data science in a big way, where we could basically uh, do kind of a risk profiling of consumers, pick up some fraudulent transactions which were very tough to catch at a scale. So those possibilities are only possible when you have an infrastructure which can support you on the fly computing. So those are the areas I see innovation is happening right now.
What's happening in terms of bringing investments in financial markets more innovative? I mean, certainly in the advanced economies, all kinds of products, exchange traded funds, and so on, are available, which today are not yet there in India, but certainly there are beginnings of that. Dipesh, do you want to take a stab at that, sir? Again, in the context of using cloud-based platforms to bring these innovations to large numbers of people.
Yeah, again, yeah, the especially AI and ML adoption has increased many folds. The main reason for that is computation, storage cost, and the infrastructure provided by the cloud provider. It definitely enabled many companies. So like you don't have to invest in the AI and ML at the beginning of your stage, but as you start scaling, going from 1 million customer to 10 million to 100 millions of customers, you are going to have a large set of data. And if you want to have process that data, one is, first of all, you have to have data strategy. So like cloud providers provides, one is the data storage as well as data lake capabilities. And how do you protect the data with security capabilities as well? On top of it, then you can apply AI and ML to build models and personalize the experience, all of that. So in our cases, example, we are looking at AI and ML, looking at the customer insights, and provide the tailored experience for the customer. That could be the recommendations, or it could be the education content we talked about, or it could be onboarding improving based on the KYC automation, or it could be even providing the customer service. There are many areas we are looking at it, leveraging the AI and ML, uh, and one is it will help us to innovate faster for our customers and provide the best experience. Second one, it will help us to scale for us, and with automation and the data processing, and it also able to protect security is also has improved or with the data. So what the focus with the companies is basically how do you collect the data what you need only with security, and then how do you protect with the access management. So nowadays cloud provides the good access management. And the third one is basically how do you encrypt the data and make sure that only right people will see that. So all of that, it makes it easier for new businesses to start up and basically scale up quickly. And another thing cloud will help us is the on demand scaling. As the volume, as your business grows, you will be able to scale without much lot of hard work required on your side. So all of that is definitely helping innovation and helping us to scale, especially in our business as well.
Okay, so let's talk about this a little bit more. There's been reference to data a few times already in this conversation. Um, so, in terms of tapping large volumes of data and disparate sources of data, and you all have talked about AI and ML in this context as well. Maybe I can ask Satinder to talk about your experience in terms of your customers' AI adoption roadmap. What have you seen?
Yeah, I think broadly, look, AI has huge potential. But if I look at the current state of implementation, I will divide it into four categories. And the first one is security and authentication, wherein customers are looking at technologies like facial biometrics, computer vision, OCR, NLPs to verify identities. And they're using various ML techniques to detect anomalous behavior, fraudulent scenarios such as account theft, fake document, or personal information. I'll give an example. A startup in Africa called Ella Credit. And Ella uses they have developed an application which uses their tool's facial recognition function to verify an application's identity, wherein more traditional forms of identification are not available. And that context is very similar to what we see in India. So they use our AI technology called recognition to basically validate whether the customer is what he's saying he is. And once the applicants are approved, they provide on-demand credit and also follow it up with machine learning tools to determine additional credit worthiness or whether they would benefit from expanded set of offerings. Now, that's the first category. The second category is personalized finance and customer experience. And there, if you look at, that's one of the key differentiators of fintechs. And Saurabh talked about how important it is in the insurance space. And I'll give you another example. Now, this time closer to what we're seeing in India. Edelweiss, a life insurance group, they have used our technology to train machine learning models to deliver personalized service and support to almost 370,000 customers that they have. And this model provides their customer service agents with personalized offerings that they can offer when engaging with customers, either through phone or chat. And they've used our technology to reduce the time it takes to launch those models from 6 months to only 3 weeks. And they've increased their cross-sell rates by almost 300% while reducing fraud detection rates by 35%. Now, that's a very profound outcome by using machine learning. The third one is workflow automation. And again, fintechs in lending insurance space have migrated their underwriting workflows to digital formats using text messages, emails to process applications. And machine learning is again playing a very big role. Perfios, as an example, they use our artificial intelligence technology called Extract to extract, categorize, analyze thousands of documents in real time, helping financial institutions take decisions in stringent privacy and compliance related environments. And this earlier used to be a very manual, cumbersome, human intensive process. They've kind of automated using artificial intelligence. The last one, and possibly the most profound one, is financial data analytics. When you look at fintech, I think the importance of data, and my fellow panelists have talked a great deal about it. To a fintech, that is, extremely valuable. Now, whether it is, let's say, a capital market, many fintechs serve as ISVs, providing software solutions to other FSIs, such as hedge funds, asset managers, research teams, or proprietary trading desk. I'll give an example of that. And this is something that that Vanguard, which is a large AWS customer, publicly declared. They built this entire tech org, which is called Enterprise Advice. And that org is basically all about dealing with Vanguard's foray into providing services to their capital market customers using machine learning, and optimize rule of thumb recommendations with more sophisticated advice to maximize wealth and spending for their investors. They created this whole thing called personalized glide path, which was an asset allocation glide path. Now think of it. Vanguard thought about this even before machine learning was not as dominant, was not as pervasive as we see. And then they tried using machine learning with on-prem setup, and they figured out that it's too costly for them, and the returns are not commensurate with the effort that is required. They used our cloud and our SageMaker technology, which is a machine learning platform, and developed this asset allocation glide path and reduced the cost from $5 million to $200K. Now think about that with machine learning and with cloud, they are able to rapidly get into new business models that earlier were very difficult or too costly to undertake.
Vivek, do you want to follow on with this? Give us a sense of the AI roadmap in your company, if you will. What are some of the things that you already have done, and what are some of the projects that you are preparing for, planning, and so on?
So see, for us, a lot of AI actually starts off by creating, like I think was Satinder also highlighted, basically by creating solid data. I mean, basically, it's very, very important for you to have a very solid data platform. And in the present times, every organization in the country, right? I mean, every organization globally, in fact, is relying heavily on data. A lot of decisioning is actually happening around data. With that happening, it is very, very important for us to get sort of industrial grade quality on our data platforms. Right? It's very, very important for us to have a data platform that's always available, 24/7 available. There should be backups, and there should be security on your data. There should be privacy in the data. You need to have anomaly detection. You need to have monitoring put on your data. It's very, very important that like industrial grade, continue to have the data always available to serve the needs and requirements of decisioning platform, which is that I think we have actually found us being cloud native, having started our complete journey on cloud, has actually helped us significantly in being able to drive this. In terms of the AI sort of roadmap for us, we basically look at AI at three broad areas, right? We look at it first from a point of view of transaction monitoring, risk sort of aversion. So basically doing sort of the identity verification, transaction monitoring, reducing the risk, exchange level risk, reducing that so that our users have a safer experience on the platform. And finally, from a customer experience personalization point of view, like I said, we have got a whole curve, right, of people who are just starting up to people who have extensive experience to alternate use cases in cryptocurrency. Is very, very important for us to be able to drive personalized experiences for our users. And there is really no manual way of being able to do it. It's not like we are going to be able to do it in a different way and AI will enable that. The level of personalization that we are trying to do for our customers is really not feasible without our AI. So that sort of is the roadmap: personalize and operationalize.
All right, just a quick reminder to our audience. Please do post your questions on the web platform. We have an eminent set of panelists today, and we'd be happy to take your questions. That said, I want to do a sort of a quick check on where each of you is on your cloud journey. Think of it almost like a rapid fire question. Give us a sense of where you are today on your cloud journey. I'm also asking this because I would like to sort of make a slight differentiation between the AI roadmap and your journey on the cloud. So yeah, tell us about where you are today. Dipesh, maybe you can take that one first, and I'll go to the other panelists as well.
Yeah,
So
so definitely, like right now we are already on the cloud, definitely, and then AI we started on it, and we have a long roadmap as well. As I said earlier, we are not only thinking short term as well as multi-year roadmap for AI to provide the best experience, innovation, and scalability. And then also we do have some the small portion of in data center, but that is required for the legacy region and interoperability with others. But majority of our like microservices is all running on the AWS cloud. So and definitely that's where we are with the journey.
all right. Again, give us like a rapid fire answer, Saurabh. Are you at the level of using infrastructure, or have you already moved to the point where you are actually building many innovative applications on the cloud?
No, we are building applications, and our 95% of our infra is already on AWS cloud. And we have been able to use services also which have been hosted on different clouds. So I think in terms of maturity model, we are slightly ahead of the curve in terms of adoption of software as a service as well.
Siddharth?
Yeah, definitely. I think cannot do it, do this scale without having a cloud partner. Especially if you think about it from a spot market point of view, we do almost half the volume of monthly volume of what BSE, Bombay Stock Exchange does, and there is no way to scale this, unless we have a partner like AWS to sort of start with. And definitely they had really helped us, sitting together to sort of figure out new ways to scale businesses like us. And I think it's definitely a very important strategy for us to be expanding ourselves in this.
Okay, one audience question that's just come in. It's as follows. With the increased risk of impersonation and data theft, how are the companies preparing to stay ahead of potential fraudsters? This is from Apurva Jha. Anyone wants to go first?
Yeah, I can take a stab and others can join as
Please.
well. So definitely, this is a great question, and it's one of the risk as leaders we have to stay ahead of it. In the fintech, this is especially how do we protect our customer from data theft. Uh, and so for a couple of things, as a strategy, data strategy, we talked about is only collect the data you need, and how do you protect the data with encryption, access management, and also some of the like external firewall, and also offensive and defensive mechanisms we have. So uh, we have to take all the necessary steps and make sure that your customer data is protected to earn the customer trust. Otherwise, it's easy to lose a customer trust. Then it takes a long while to earn a customer trust, but you could lose it in a week. So it's very important. You provide this confidence, and also in the fraudulent case, also I have seen some of the recently AI and ML is playing some of the tools built by B2B companies are helping with this as well. So definitely, this is one area. All fintech industries they have seen more challenges, and this is one of the risks, and they have to stay ahead of it to mitigate that.
So see, at CoinDCX, we actually follow a principle of what we call as security in depth, right? So essentially what we try to do is that we try to build layers of security after layers of security in order to basically enhance the levels of security that we have. For example, take the case of personation risk, right? It starts off by adding, your 2FA, but then it continues to proceed. We have multiple levels of, ML-driven algorithms which are running, which will probably check, is this your regular device? Are you logging in? Is this your regular login pattern? Do you have an impossible travel pattern based on your location? And it then continues, right, up to the level that we have a withdrawal password wherein you cannot actually withdraw the funds even if you're broken into a user's account. And when it comes to data, I think was already alluded by the previous speaker, it starts off by you having right data principles. For example, for us it is collect only what you need, keep it only for as long as you need to keep it. Only the people who need to have access to should have access to it. Build zero trust models around it, and then eventually basically use it for the purpose of driving services for your user. And when you keep it in your platform, keep it in a platform wherein you can keep it in a secure way, basically keep it encrypted, tokenized, etc. Again, something that basically helps, it makes it very easy for us to do that based on the cloud strategy that we have and the facilities that we get, being that we are cloud native.
I'll add something,
Yeah, please.
Hari, just quickly on this. I think defense in depth is definitely the right approach. And Apuva, if I'm thinking about it, and usually the way customers think about it, they think in the two dimensions. The first dimension is keep the bad guys out. And I think that's really the cyber construct. And technologies like machine learning, the kind of technologies that Thepesha talked about, I think they're very relevant for that. The second dimension is keep the good things in. And that's where you have whether well-meaning insiders or malicious insiders, the technologies that you require, whether it is tokenization, encryption, identity and access management, or to an extent that you're looking at PII data, obfuscating data. I think those are the set of technologies that you require. So a defense in depth is possibly the right way. Cloud does provide a lot of tools for you to do that in a cloud native fashion. So I think if you think of it in a comprehensive fashion, I think you're definitely in safe hands.
Okay, we have about 5 minutes left to the close of our discussion. I want to ask you about what are some of the most important challenges going forward in terms of adopting cloud and building on your AI roadmap, meeting your customer personalization aspirations and so on. Siddharth, do you want to go first? What would be the single most important challenge for you going forward?
I think I don't see that as a challenge as of now. I mean, we are a very cloud native, organization. In fact, there's a lot of opportunity for us. So this is how we see it. It has always helped us keep our team lean and well under control, and also from a security point of view, there are already sort of many tools built in, which basically, especially in the business that we are in, where we have to sort of make sure everything is secure. So I think to me, I don't think so there's more challenge. It's more to take a lot more advantage of what is there. Definitely, there's a lot more that we need to also explore and take advantage of, and that is what the team is also trying to figure this out and sort of scale both in terms of vertical, that is the vertical scaling, and also horizontally with more offering being consumed to give a better service.
Saurabh, any thoughts?
We do believe that the personalized experience is, I'm audible. Okay. Personalized experience is going to be the most important challenge for the industry, at least in the industry that we work. And when the data is being stored at a scale, how can we actually devise something which is very personal to a consumer? That would continue to be a challenge, and we'll continue to focus upon that. And as the penetration is increasing and the expectations of the consumers are rising, I think at least in our industry and some of the parts in the fintech industry, some of the portions of the life cycle or the consumer journeys are still not very digital in nature. Though COVID has pushed it to a level where a lot of things which used to be very physical in form have started becoming quite digital, but still they are not there where they should be. So that particular area will continue to evolve. So these are the typical challenges that we keep an eye on, and we'll continue to focus.
Okay. All right. Again, one quick question. Maybe I can ask Tipesha to take this. Do you expect sharper, clearer government regulation to help, and in what ways?
I think so far, like what I've seen or what I've read, basically, we are getting good support from the government, especially fintech adoption. They are definitely supporting the startup ecosystem to innovate, and also some of the foundational data infrastructure they put in 5 years ago that helped us tremendously to accelerate. I think the regulation, I think what we need is we need the continuous support from the government of India, and continue to help us with the investment needed in the, for example, there are many other foundational work is going on is in the ledger accounting service, where, and also GST integrations. So we could provide a end-to-end experience to customer, whether they do trading, and then they will be able to get the tax statement, and they will be able to see the financial statements. All of that we could have a seamless integrations. So right now we are getting the great support, and I would say India is one of the that is one of the reason where it's helping. Then we are hindered. So I would like to seek that continuous support.
All right, we've almost completely run out of our time. Insightful conversation. To my mind, the biggest takeaway is there's much more broader consensus in terms of embracing cloud technologies, tapping data, and bringing your operations closer to your customers. Gentlemen, thank you so much for making time for this conversation, and I definitely hope to keep the conversation going. And a request to all our audiences, please do share your feedback on the platform using the link on this platform. Thank you once again.
Forbes India presents AWS The Mavericks in association with Matrix Partners India.